Hey everybody, I am ARMR, and what I watched today is Reboot Season 2, Episode 7, NullZilla. We start off with Hex crowing over her latest scheme and terrifying Mike TV into entertaining her. Feels like a bit of a dick move by Bob, trapping Mike TV with Hex like this. I love the parody show he offers her, Bride of Franken Gnome. And this includes this awesome joke.
Through the switch,
I love when Reboot does parody bits, which is good because this is pretty much the entire episode is a parody bit for this one. But we'll get to that in a moment. In his efforts to placate Hex, Mike shatters her looking glass, unleashing some unknown creature from within. We shift through a quick scene of Megabyte to Bob and Dot trying to reverse nullification. And here's where Andrea comes in really handy for the writers, having a perspective character to draw out natural exposition, letting us know that before Bob's arrival in Mainframe, they lost a lot of games in that city. After they cover some theories on how nulls could turn back, and Andrea digests the information, we return to Hex. Whatever has attacked her from the net is holding her fast. An odd black tentacle creature infects her like some sort of powerful virus hijacking her programming. Kinda surprising that such a tiny thing could be so much more powerful than Hex. And it changes Hex into this even scarier black version of herself that is apparently emitting a signal that only nulls and those with advanced hearing like Andrea and Firstgate can pick up. And it causes every null in Mainframe, including Megabyte's pet null Nibbles. He has a pet null, that's awesome. Just love that he has that. And yeah, we check in with our heroes as they rush off after the nulls and they leave Andrea behind. And then we return to Mike TV, cowering in front of the new and improved in all the wrong ways, Hexadecimal. Just before she can kill Mike, the nulls swarm her, apparently trying to contain her new form. Hack and Slash arrive in Lost Angles, looking for Nibbles, and we get one of the few moments from them that actually made me laugh.
Hey, what do you mean, joke?
Joke, noun, a thing said or done to cause laughter, something not in earnest or ridiculous.
I guess one part of them is part dictionary program. Not long after, our heroes catch up to the plot, and we get our first look at the titular NullZilla. I love this design, especially the rendering work that would have gone into this wriggling mass. It's just impressive, especially for the time it was made. We find out in an exposition dump that NullZilla is animated because of Hex's attempts to escape the nulls encasing her, which is also a pretty neat way of explaining how this giant thing can move. It's a big cocoon of nulls around Hex, but her attempts to escape it are causing the rampage. It's just a really good way of keeping it going. And it gives us our horror monster rampaging through downtown Mainframe. I'm sorry, I love it. And it's about now that we get set up for the parody portion of this episode, with this exchange.
Do not worry, I have prepared something for just such an emergency.
You're prepared for a giant monster made entirely of nulls stomping around Mainframe?
That is correct.
How do you plan for that?
Lucky guess?
I mean, really? Wow. After Fong brushes Bob off, the team gets suited up and Andrea is left out again. Poor gal. It's a bug-themed Power Rangers spoof, complete with ridiculous costumes. Oh, I just love this. Bob is Black Beetle, Dot is Ladybird, Enzo is Grasshopper. Frisket, well, I don't speak dog, but his vehicle looks like a hornet, so I'm assuming he's a hornet. And finally, Mike TV as Blue Gnat. Getting the tiniest vehicle, this spoof really likes using Mike as a whipping boy. I get that the show wants to see Mike as annoying, but more often than not, he comes off as one of the most genuinely earnest people in Mainframe, always willing and ready to jump whole hog into what he's doing, and help everyone around him. I do love how this episode pokes fun at how ridiculous Power Rangers can be. I mean, I'm a huge Power Rangers fanboy, but I love, like, good-natured, tongue-in-cheek stuff like this. And they do it again with this clip.
Join them together to form a giant robot that will battle NullZilla.
You're kidding, right? These form a what?
A giant robot.
Followed by your heroes trying hard to figure out just how to fit these weird bug bots together. We find out at this point the team is called the Reboot Robot Entomologizing Force. Wow, that's a mouthful. And off screen, the bug ships combine into the Mega Robot Zord. Sorry, Mega Reboot Zord. Which looks cool, but nothing like the sum of its parts. Yeah. This episode has a sweet homage to classic giant monster movies at this point, as several binomes run around in front of, like, what basically looks like a backdrop of NullZilla rampaging around and knocking over buildings that have, like, no weight to them. Basically, like, calling back to the times when, you know, CGI wasn't a thing. Practical effects were king. And if you wanted a giant monster rampaging above a bunch of civilians, you basically had to play with perspective like that. And it is a really cool scene. I mean, it looks unrealistic, but it works for what it's parodying. And it's so well done. The giant battle is awesome, though the mainframers are having trouble gaining ground over the squishy monster before them. Squishy. I mean, this is partially because Fong forgot their greatest weapon in its awesome glass case. Oops. But Andrea comes to the rescue, piloting the Power Axe, Destructomatic, and joining up with the Megazord, Reboot Zord. Yeah. Like all good Six Rangers, Andrea's intervention saves the day, our heroes managing to separate Hex from the Nulls and whatever was controlling her. Sorry to say for our heroes, but they haven't seen the last of this black horror from beyond, as the episode ends with it infecting and taking over Megabyte, setting up our threat for the next episode. Again, I love the parody in this episode. It's well done, it's done with good nature, and that's really the best kind of parody in my mind, is not the kind of mean-spirited stuff you see most of the time, but this good-natured, tongue-in-cheek kind of, like, loving parody. It gets the humor right, and it still gives us a really fun episode. Anyhow, thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you next time.